बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मदन मोहन जू की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टो विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील गुरुदेव की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टो विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोस्वामी महाराज की जय। नित्य लीला प्रविष्टो विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशिमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशुमार भक्ति प्रज्ञान केशव गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्टम विष्णुपाद रक्षत रक्षत शिशुमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट महाभागवत श्री गोक्षर बाबूजी महाराज की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट श्री सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्य प्रविष्ट वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्री जगन्नाथ दास बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुगौर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भद्रदास रघुनाथ शारद गोस्वामी प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौरमंडल व्रजमंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंड श्याम कुंड की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समागत गौर भक्त वृंद श्री रस-पाñcadhyāyī की जय। श्री सर्वव्रज देवी गण की जय। रासेश्वरी श्री विश्वभानुनंदिनी श्रीमती राधा ठाकुरानी की जय। श्री ब्रजेंद्र नंदन श्याम सुंदर श्री कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ श्री श्रीधर स्वामी पाद की जय। श्री जीव गोस्वामी पाद की जय। श्री विश्वनाथ चक्रवर्ती ठाकुर की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। श्री निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय राधिकाय प्रियात्मने श्रीश्रीमद्भक्तिवेदान्त नारायणीति नामिने। नमो ॐ विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तरभक्ताय नमो नमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृतं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुस्तं सर्वभूतहृदयमुनिमानतोऽस्मि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। शृण्वतां स्वधा कृष्ण पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तन हृदान्तस्थो ह्यभद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सतं। नष्टायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. Tavai vasmi na jivami tvaya vina. Iti vigyaya radhe tvam nayamang charanantikam. Bhaktya vihina aparada lakshai Shiptashtakama ditaranga madhe Kripa mai tvam sharanam prapanna Vrinde namaste charanaravindam. Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hari Bol, everybody. Is there Gargaraj ji, Dandavat Pranams, Ganga Mataji, Marvi Didi, Indira Mataji, Raseshwari Mataji, Gopi Kant Prabhu, and Pradumna Prabhu, Mantramurti Mataji. Dandavat Pranams, everybody. I had a bit of anyways, hopefully I'll be all right. But yeah, I had a bit of a strange night last night. I got locked out of Gopinath Bhavan and managed to get into Rup Sanatan at like 11 p.m. But then the person I was staying with went to sleep at 1:30, and I got bit by mosquitoes the whole night, and I woke up from Mangalarti. Anyways, basically, I just had a really terrible night. But I think I'll be able to, yeah, I'm feeling okay right now. But if I get a little... So what we're going to read today is, first we'll go over the last verse, vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ, which is such an important verse. My Guru would quote it all the time. And so we'll go over all the commentaries of Śrīdhara Svāmipāda, Jiva Gosvāmipāda, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And then there's an article by Śrīla Vāman Goswami Maharaj that he spoke on Radhashtami. So I'll read a part of that, not the full thing. And then I'll read an article from my Gurudev that was in Raises the Harmonist. And then there's actually, I think that will be all the time we have, though, to read all that. But because yesterday I was proofreading Going Beyond Vaikuntha, and the chapter I happened to read yesterday was all about that verse. It was really nice. But I think there probably won't be enough time with everything that we have to read now. Oh yeah, Indira Mataji. The thing is, anyways, I'll tell you later. But it wasn't possible. I mean, it could have been possible, but it would have been a whole drama. Because Srivas also came a bit late and had to wake up Dhīraḥ Krishna Prabhu. He's only one of the keys in it. It's a whole thing. Okay. So maybe you can recite this verse with me because it's such an important verse and it's the last verse of this chapter. So I'll sing it slowly. Vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ śraddhānvito nuśṛṇuyād atha varṇayed bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya kāmaṁ hṛd-rogam apahinoty acireṇa dhīraḥ. Vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ śraddhānvito nuśṛṇuyād atha varṇayed bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya kāmaṁ hṛd-rogam apahinoty acireṇa dhīraḥ. A sober person who faithfully hears again and again the narrations of Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa's transcendental Rāsa-līlā with the Vraj-Devis, and later describes those pastimes, very soon attains parā-bhakti, supreme loving devotion for the Almighty Lord. Consequently, he conquers the senses and is freed from the heart disease of material lust forever. Śrīla Svāmipāda Bhavarta Dipika. By hearing about the playful ras dance by which Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa defeated Kāmaṁ, one succeeds in conquering mundane lust. This is a topic of discussion in this verse, vikrīḍitaṁ. One who with faith repeatedly hears about this Rāsa-līlā and then describes it, very quickly becomes sober and attains loving devotional service to Sri Bhagavan and immediately gives up the heart disease of lust. Thus ends the elaborated translation of the commentary named Bhavarta Dipika of the 33rd chapter of the 10th canto, written by Śrīdhara, who is the servant of this supreme bliss. Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmipāda Vaishnav Toshani. Just as Rāsa-līlā is the best of all līlas, similarly, hearing and describing this Rāsa-līlā grants the topmost fruit. It removes material desires and bestows the flow of love of God. With Kaimutika Nyaya, Sri Shukadeva Goswami affirms that this is the supreme fruit conferred by this pastime. The narrator, being completely submerged in bliss, gives the blessing described in this verse, vikrīḍitaṁ, to all future speakers and hearers of this pastime. A person who with faith continuously hears about the activities of the young brides of Vraj with Sri Krishna in the Ras dance, and then describes them to others, will very quickly attain parā-bhakti for Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa, and will immediately give up lust, the disease of the heart. Vraja-vadhū means the Vraj gopis, who are like new young brides. That is, in this playful Rāsa-līlā, Śrī Kṛṣṇa gave the Vraj sundaris the good fortune of serving him. Thus he accepted them as his consorts and made their lives successful. It is with these Vraj sundaris that the all-pervading Śrī Kṛṣṇa performs such pastimes. Here, Ras Krīda, the amorous games of the Rāsa-līlā, includes many other activities besides dancing. This is indicated by the phrase idaṁ cha. Viṣṇoḥ. Because Vishnu means all-pervading, right? So, Śrī Kṛṣṇa appeared between... Śrī Kṛṣṇa appeared between every two gopis, which is mentioned in verse 3 of this chapter. This indicates that he is all-pervading, Vishnu, as said in this verse. Right? He's all-pervading. He's in between every single one of the gopis. So that's a deeper meaning of the word Vishnu, all-pervading, who is situated between every two gopis. Śraddhānvito, hearing with complete faith. If one listens without faith, it is an offense. It's an important point. If one listens without faith, it is an offense. To remove this, one must hear continuously. Not only hearing, but also describing, remembering, and recommending. Then one can receive the special fruit of supreme loving devotion. Having the guidance of the gopis, one attains bhakti laced with prem, which manifests at every moment in a new form. Thus, one quickly gives up lust, the disease of the heart. Disease of the heart does not include any desire connected with Bhagavan, because any desires related to Bhagavan are transcendental. Diseased desires of the heart and desires related to Bhagavan are diametrically opposed to each other. This is what is established here. Here, only material lust, kāmaṁ, is mentioned, but all other diseases of the heart are also removed. In Gita 18:54, Krishna says, "One who is established in Brahma neither hankers nor laments for anything. He is equal to all living entities, and thus he attains prem bhakti for me." According to this statement, after the disease of the heart is destroyed, one attains parā-bhakti. The verse at hand proclaims that parā-bhakti comes before the dissolution of the heart disease. Another important point, Gurudev will go into this deeply. The verse at hand proclaims that parā-bhakti comes before the dissolution of the heart disease. First comes parā-bhakti, and then the heart disease goes away. Therefore, the sadhana of hearing ras krida is much more powerful than all other practices. The word dhīraḥ means that one attains gravity and gains control of his senses. Alternatively, very quickly he attains bhakti and gets liberated from the heart disease, pain of separation from Krishna. Because by hearing and speaking about Rāsa-līlā, one can achieve Śrī Kṛṣṇa very quickly. The commentator's prayer. Vikrīḍitaṁ vahirantascha jādoyam yena nartyate tasya chaitanya rupasya prityaya bhagavatos tivadam. He who enjoys inside and outside makes a dull person like me dance. This work which I am doing for the pleasure of that supreme living force, Sri Bhagavan, should be successful. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's Sarartha Darshani. Sri Rāsa-līlā is the crown jewel of all of Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa's pastimes. Thus, the fruit of hearing and narrating Sri Rāsa-līlā is also the topmost. This is told in this verse of vikrīḍitaṁ. Cha and refers to other pleasure-filled pastimes of Sri Krishna with the Vraj Sundaris, described by other poets, which are similar to this Ras dance. So like what we see in Gita Govinda, I guess? Or maybe that's separate. viṣṇoḥ. There's a song by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. What is it? We sang it already. Varaja-vadhūbhir and Shatakoti Gopi and other descriptions. viṣṇoḥ. Dāsa madhe dvayor. Krishna stood between every two gopis. This indicates his all-pervasive nature. Thus the name Vishnu, all-pervasive, is used. Nu means surely. Anu means daily. Surely every day. Continuously hearing, then glorifying to others and describing it in poetry. Bhaktiṁ parāṁ, supreme loving devotion. Pratilabhya, obtains. Even though lust and other diseases are present, first prema enters the heart and its power removes the lust that is lodged there. Such is the power of hearing and narrating this Rāsa-līlā. Simultaneously, lust goes and prema manifests, but the effect of prema is observed first. In this way, the faithful sadhak attains prema for the lotus feet of Bhagavan, and all his material desires are eradicated. The reason for this is that prema is not weak like jnana and yoga. Rather, it is supremely independent and vigorous. This shows the difference between the two types of kāmaṁ, the disease of lust in the heart, and pure spiritual love for the Supreme Lord. Spiritual love for Bhagavan is full of nectar, and material desire in the heart is completely the opposite in nature. It is poison. A person who has full belief in the words of the scriptures, a dhīra pandit, will not doubt that one can attain Krishna prema even while the heart is afflicted with the disease of lust. Prema does not embrace that person who does not trust in Shastra and who is an offender to the holy name. One who has faith in Shastra will develop faith in hearing about Rāsa-līlā. For such a person, prema will appear first as the fruit of his hearing this prema will appear first as the fruit of his hearing this Līla Katha, and eventually all varieties of heart disease are destroyed at the root. The fruit of hearing this Rāsa-līlā is that prema will appear, and eventually all varieties of heart disease are destroyed at the root. That means it will never come back again. Śrī Kṛṣṇati Vashikara Chunchoho. What's that? I'm just wondering what he's referring to here. Anyways, let's see. Fully capable of subjugating Krishna, this Rāsa-līlā that denied entrance to Lakshmi Devi, that is the female swan of Prem, and is the crown jewel of all glorious acts. This Rāsa-līlā shines forth in all its brilliance. Only those who take the guidance of the Vraja-gopis, who show the path of sweet mellows, gain entrance to the Rāsa-līlā. Even the scholars of the scriptures find it very difficult to enter there. There is so much to be said about Rāsa-līlā, what is generally known and unknown, but out of fear of making the book too voluminous, I have told just the essence. Thus ends the Sarartha Darshini Tika, the commentary that gives bliss to the devotees, on the 33rd chapter of the 10th canto of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Thus ends the Bhavanuvad of the 3 commentaries: 1. Bhavartha Dipika, 2. Saṅkṣepa Vaishnava Toshani, and 3. Sarartha Darshini of the 33rd chapter of the 10th canto of Śrīmad Bhagavatam. Jai Śrīla Śrīdhara Svāmipāda ki Jai, Śrīla Jiva Gosvāmipāda ki Jai, Śrīla Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ki Jai, Bhavartha Dipika ki Jai, Saṅkṣepa Vaishnava Toshani ki Jai, Sarartha Darshini ki Jai, Rāsa-pañcadhyāyī ki Jai, Grantaraj Śrīmad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Savar Vraja Gan ki Jai, Raseshwari Shivananandini Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki Jai, Raseshwar Shri Rajendra Nandan Sham Sundar Shri Krishna Chandra ki Jai. All right. So there it is. We completed. And now I'll read from Srila Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj. He focuses on this word śraddhānvito, because people might misinterpret this verse to mean, well, then, like they might misinterpret it to mean that they can just take it cheaply and just, yeah, everybody should hear Rāsa-līlā, like there's no qualification needed. You just, and in that way take it very cheaply. And so he gives a warning. I'm not going to read the full thing. I'll just read part of it. I'm going to make the text a little bigger so you can read. And then my Gurudev focuses on the point of how people shouldn't say that I'm never qualified to read it. So I wanted to give both sides. Okay. Let me make the spacing bigger. There. Okay. So this was published in Raise of the Harmonist. I can't remember which issue. Yeah, we'll see at the end which issue of Raise of the Harmonist. But yeah, Srila Bhagavān Gosvāmī Maharaj spoke this on Radhashtami. Let me just check the comments really quick. Haribo, Sudevi Didi. Okay. Śrīdhara Tattva. Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj. All Radha Tattva is within the book Shri Radha Rasa Sudhanidhi, but not everyone has the capacity to discuss it. One can discuss a few initial chapters, but it will be inappropriate to discuss it further. Who can discuss it? One who has attained a very elevated level of bhakti, and who, due to hearing, chanting, and remembering the transcendental sweet pastimes of Bhagavan, never misunderstands these pastimes in any way. Revelations of the absolute truth, Tattva Darshan, are seen within Śrīmad Bhagavatam's descriptions of stealing the gopis' clothes, Vastra Haran Lila, the boating pastimes, Noko Vilas Lila, and the 5 chapters describing Rāsa-līlā, Rāsa-pañcadhyāyī. The qualification, the adhikar to discuss these pastimes, however, is not granted to everyone. For example, the girls who worshipped Yogamaya Devi were only 6 years old, and Vastraharan-līlā is to be seen from this perspective. The scripture's explanations of this pastime, however, is misunderstood by many. Presently, historical truths are being distorted. Due to possessing a critical mentality, there are those who try to coerce us into accepting a distortion of the truth, or that which is opposed to Siddhanta. To mistake the sweet pastimes of Bhagavan with the dealings of ordinary heroes and heroines is a great offense. Because we tend to err regarding the many aspects of our discussions and descriptions of such pastimes, regulations have been imposed. For someone with spiritual qualification, it is not a fault to discuss these topics, but people in general are not to discuss them. What is the need for this restriction? For us to understand, the example of Lord Shiva has been cited. Oh, we went over this verse 30 in this same chapter. Naitat samacharej jatu manasapi yanishvara vinashatyacharan modhyad yatarudrobdijam visham. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-30. This was an answer. Those who are not controllers, who are not Ishwars, are powerless and helplessly controlled by the laws of karma. They should never imitate the Lord's pastimes, even within their minds. Like a person who foolishly imitates Lord Shiva by drinking poison generated from the churning of the ocean, they will certainly be destroyed. It is such a dangerous situation. Poison arose while churning the milk ocean, and that poison was consumed by Shiva Thakur. Upon drinking it, he became unconscious. That is the history. But by the mercy of Bhagavan, Lord Shiva came back to consciousness. The effect of drinking the poison overwhelmed him, and he became known as Nilakanta, blue-throated one. Similarly, those who have not acquired the suitable capacity should not enter discussions on Ras-līlā. For one who asks why, the response is, whatever is stated in Shastra is appropriate. Even so, one could still question, what is the harm in discussing Ras-līlā, and how is it inappropriate when Sri Vedavyas himself has said, vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ śraddhānvito nuśṛṇuyād atha varṇayed bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya kāmaṁ hṛd-rogam apahinoty acireṇa dhīraḥ. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39. A sober person who, with full faith, continuously hears or describes Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa's transcendental Ras-līlā with the damsels of Vraj will first attain transcendental devotion, parā-bhakti, for the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Thereafter, he will quickly conquer his senses and become forever free from the disease of the heart, worldly lust. But now Srila Vāman Goswami is going to focus on śraddhānvito. Shraddha shabde vishwas kohe sudrida nishchay Krishne bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. That's Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 22:62. Shraddha is the staunch faith that merely by the performance of bhakti to Krishna, everything is accomplished. Where is my actual faith in these words? Where is my dependency on this? With this shloka, all my apparent sense of qualification has been crushed. In other words, I have no qualification. When we look elsewhere in the Bhagavat, we can see some words of hope. What kind of hope? Na maya veshita dhiyam kama kamaya kalpate varjita kvatita dhana prayo bijayaneshate. That's Srimad Bhagavatam 10:22-26. The desire of those who fix their minds on me does not lead to material desire for sense gratification, just as barley corns burned by the sun and then cooked can no longer grow into new sprouts. This shloka gives hope to the general people. Krishna is saying that lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, and envy can never and will never remain within persons who have developed attachment to him. What then is the nature of their life? How do they pass their life? What kind of men are they? Bharjita kvatita dhana prayo bijayaneshate. The word dhana, paddy, has been used here. If paddy has been fried or boiled, how can it possibly sprout? It is impossible. Similarly, devotees who are like this paddy may live a worldly life, but they are not at all worldly. Such devotees are very difficult to recognize. They are likened to a ripe mango that appears unripe due to the green color of its exterior. There's a special type of mango, I forgot the name of it, in Bengal though, and it never turns, it stays green. It looks like it's unripe, but when you open it up, it's very sweet. And they are also likened to punkala fish that live in the mud. General people cannot recognize them or understand their real position, but Krishna himself has described that position. While keeping all these statements in mind and deliberating upon them, we need to understand several points and consider the extent to which our heart has become advanced. Am I overwhelmed by lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, or envy? Do they still exert an influence over me or not? Am I liberated from them or not? To what extent has Guru's mercy fallen upon me? My qualification is dependent on these considerations. In the lives of such devotees, there is no false ego, bravado, envy, malice, etc. Only wholehearted crying. Nothing other than this. That same longing and anxious crying is clearly manifest in the revelations of the truth regarding Sri Radha. Okay, so I'm going to end here. That's the main thing I wanted to read. But then also we just read Srila, what is it, Jiva Gosvāmī? He said that one must. Anyways, we're going to read my Gurudev's commentary. Here, look, he says, śraddhānvito, hearing with complete faith. If one listens without faith, it is an offense. But then he says, how do we remove it? To remove this, one must hear continuously, not only hearing, but also describing, remembering, and recommending. So I guess it's not like we just listen to it once and then get back into doing whatever stuff and, watching movies and eating whatever junk and not living, but no, we have to continuously listen to this Rāsa-līlā. That's how we get faith, right? Otherwise, if we just listen to it without faith and thinking it's mundane, then it's an offense. Okay, now let's read my Gurudev's commentary to the end. This is Rays of the Harmonist, issue number 20, Kartik 2009. Continuously hear about Rāsa-līlā. That's really beautiful. Let me just check everything. Yeah, it is a bit of a paradox. Let's see the commentary of my Gurudev though, and this will make it very clear. Vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ. Continuously hear about Rāsa-līlā. An explanation of the commentaries of Srila Jiva Gosvāmī and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur by Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And my Gurudev originally spoke this in English on 19 February 1994 at Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Math, Mathura. Okay, you can sing this with me again. Vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ śraddhānvito nuśṛṇuyād atha varṇayed bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya kāmaṁ hṛd-rogam apahinoty acireṇa dhīraḥ. Srimad Bhagavatam 10:33-39. Let's go over the word for word. Actually, let's read the translation and then go through the word for word. A sober person who, with full faith, continuously hears or describes Bhagavān Śrī Kṛṣṇa's transcendental Rāsa-līlā with the damsels of Vraj, will first attain bhakti for the lotus feet of Bhagavan. Thereafter, he will quickly conquer his senses and become forever free from the disease of the heart, worldly lust. So, vikrīḍitaṁ means the playful pastimes. Vraja-vadhūbhir, with the newly married girls of Vraj. Idaṁ, this, cha, and, viṣṇoḥ, by Śrī Kṛṣṇa, the all-pervading Lord. śraddhānvito, imbued with faith. nuśṛṇuyād, continually hears. Atha, or varṇayed, describes. Yeah, one who does this, one who continuously hears or describes. Bhaktiṁ, devotional service. Parāṁ, supremely transcendental. Bhagavati, unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pratilabhya, obtaining, that person will obtain. And kāmaṁ, mundane lust, which is the hṛd-rogam, which is the disease of the heart. Ashu, very quickly and easily. Apahinoty, sends far away. Acireṇa, without delay. Dhīraḥ, sober, that sober person. Okay, so let's read the commentary now. Vikrīḍitaṁ vraja-vadhūbhir idaṁ cha viṣṇoḥ. The gopis are Krishna's vadhus. A vadhu is a young, newly married girl. One second, I just checking everything's running okay. Okay, it is. Okay, a vadhu is a young, newly married girl. A newly married girl will be so careful not to act shamefully. She will not talk very much. She will look very beautiful, and she will have so many other qualities. The gopis are described in this way. If anyone listens with śraddha, with deep faith, to the descriptions of the unprecedented and unparalleled Rāsa-līlā, he will receive praṁ bhakti for Śrī Kṛṣṇa within his heart. The word nuśṛṇuyād indicates continuous hearing. The word varṇayed means to explain. First, he will engage in continuous shravan, or hearing, and then he will engage in continuous kirtan, or singing about and describing this pastime. And after that, he will be able to engage in continuous smaran, or remembrance. So my Gurudev starts with this point, that if anyone listens with śraddha, with deep faith, to the descriptions of the unprecedented and unparalleled Rāsa-līlā, he will receive praṁ bhakti. That word is very important here. The word anumodan means appreciation. Even if someone cannot engage in continuous shravan, kirtan, and smaran, auditory reception, vocal explication, and mental recollection, even if one cannot engage in these three things of Rāsa-līlā, yet still feels appreciation for it, then he too will receive praṁ bhakti, the topmost bhakti for Śrī Kṛṣṇa within the core of his heart. First, praṁ bhakti, the most elevated form of devotional service, parā-bhakti, will enter his heart. And then, afterward, hṛd-rogam apahinoty, the disease of the heart, will be driven out very quickly. The term hṛd-roga, disease of the heart, primarily indicates lust or kāmaṁ. It also means attraction to any illusory entity, any mayik vastu, including mundane adoration, name, and fame, and every other attractive feature of this world. A man's love for his dog, for a girl, for his father, mother, wife, or anyone else is included within the term hṛd-rogam. All forms of attraction to anything in this world, the attainment of residence in the heavenly sphere, sense enjoyment, and so on, are included in the term hṛd-roga. But hṛd-roga especially refers to lust or kāmaṁ. So at first, prem bhakti, the topmost form of devotional service, parā-bhakti, will enter a person's heart. And then, after that, he will forever be jitendriya, the conqueror of his senses. All forms of mundane attraction will permanently go far away, and he will happily and continuously engage in Shravan, Kirtan, and Smaran of Śrī Kṛṣṇa's Rāsa-līlā. Then, at last, he will attain residence in the abode of that topmost bhakti, Goloka Vrindavan. Śrī Kṛṣṇa is Lila Puruṣottam, the supreme personality of all Lila. And the gopis are Lila Purushottama. The meaning of Purushottama is Lila Parashakti, the supreme potency of all Lila. And the Ras-Lila between Krishna and the gopis is the best of all Lilas, in which every other Lila may arise. For example, Dola Lila, wherein Sri Krishna plays with the gopis on beautiful swings, has so many special features of its own. In this Lila, Sri Krishna wants to embrace the gopis, but they are too shy to embrace him in front of each other. However, when the swing they are seated upon is pushed higher and higher, the gopis become afraid and tightly embrace him. All the special features of this pastime and all the features of hundreds of thousands of other Leelas are included within the Ras-Lila. Ananda Vrindavan Champu, the last chapter, gives one of the most beautiful descriptions I've ever read of this swing pastime. As such, Ras-Lila is known as Chakravarti, the emperor of all Lila. And one who hears about Ras-Lila, and even one who comes along to hear about it, is to be known as the Chakravarti among those who listen to Harikatha. One who explains this and sings about it is to be known as the Chakravarti among those who explain the pastimes of Sri Krishna. But what is the proof of this? The proof is also Chakravarti, for this explanation is given by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. If someone longs to hear about these pastimes, his longing is also to be known as Chakravarti. Wait 1 second. By continuously hearing about Sri Krishna's Ras-Lila, he will become qualified to explain it. And by continuously explaining it and hearing about it, Ras-Lila will automatically appear in his heart without tiresome endeavor. Such proof of the efficacy of this process is the Chakravarti of all proof. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur further clarifies that by hearing about this Ras-Lila and by explaining it, by remembering it, and even by anumodan, by appreciating it, a man will obtain Gopi Prem. First, he will enter Raghunaga Bhakti and Gopi Bhav. Then he will achieve Sarup Siddhi in that same bhav, and at last Vastu Siddhi. And in Gopi Bhav, he will directly join in that same Ras-Lila with Sri Krishna and the gopis. This is certain. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has stressed this point by using the affix nu, surely. Let's see, what does it mean? Raghunaga Bhakti and then Sarup Siddhi and Vastu Siddhi. Let's see what those terms mean. So Raghunaga Bhakti is devotional service following in the footsteps of an eternal associate in Vraj. And Sarup Siddhi is the perfection of realizing the inherent form of one's own soul. And Vastu is the attainment of one's eternal, fully spiritual body, which is completely untouched by the material energy. If a person never let me just check the comments. Okay. Yes. The point about it being a paradox is that Śrīla Rupa Gosvāmī in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says that qualification is not any adhikar, but the adhikar is lobe, greed. Yes. Okay. Oops, wrong thing. Okay. If a person never hears Rāsa-līlā Katha, his birth is useless. He should die, for he is actually a nam aparadi and a Vaishnav aparadi. Wow. This is a very strong statement. And although it is beneficial for all to hear it, not all are qualified. Previously, when we were in Jagannath Puri during the month of Purushottam, I expressed the same truth Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining here. It is essential to hear all these truths, for one who fails to understand them is bound to become a nam aparadhi. Srila Jiva Goswami has also commented on this verse. In his commentary, he explains that through this verse, Srila Shukadeva Goswami has given blessings to all shrotas, to all listeners, and all bhaktas who have come after him. To all those who will explain this Rāsa-līlā Katha, to all those who will hear it, to all those who will remember it, and also to those who will have appreciation for it. He has given blessings to all of them. What blessings has he given? With the words bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya, Sri Shukadeva Goswami has blessed all those who hear, speak, remember, and appreciate this katha to surely attain that parā-bhakti. The term parā-bhakti, or the topmost bhakti, refers to prem bhakti. But which form of prem bhakti? Vatsalya prem? Sakya prem? No. They will surely attain madhurya bhav. They will become gopis, just as the personified Shrutis did. But while the personified Shrutis took a very, very long time to attain the positions of gopis, those who receive Srila Shukadeva's blessings will attain madhurya bhav in a very short time. If you hear about, explain, remember, and appreciate these pastimes, then you will obtain the darshan and blessings of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, as well as Srila Jiva Goswami and Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. In his commentary, Srila Jiva Goswami quotes a verse from Gita. Brahma bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati sama sarveshu bhuteshu mar bhaktim labate param. That's Bhagavad Gita 1854. A person thus situated in transcendence becomes fully joyful. He never laments or desires anything. Being equally disposed to all beings, he attains bhakti to me, which is blessed with the symptoms of prem. Those who are Brahma Bhuta constantly remember Brahma, Brahma, Brahma. They are no longer in the grips of Maya, which primarily refers to mundane lust. All their desires have been removed, and all their anarthas have disappeared. Such personalities do not desire anything. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma. They are always prasanna, they are always pleased, since they are Atmaram, since they rejoice in the self. And they do not crave anything in the entire world. And they never experience any regret or sorrow. If they lose something, they never hanker, they never kankshati, they never hanker for it. Then sarveshu bhuteshu, they are equal to all. At that stage, mar bhaktim labate para, they may attain parā-bhakti for Śrī Kṛṣṇa. Here, one's progress toward the attainment of parā-bhakti is the opposite of what we have previously discussed, for it is in relation to Brahmagyanis. This verse describes that such Brahmagyanis will first have to conquer lust and then all of their anarthas. they will have to give up all their desires, which will take a long, long time. Only then will they attain parā-bhakti, as Srila Shukadeva Gosvāmī or Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan, and Sanatan and Sanat Kumars did. And by this method, even if one attains Prem Bhakti, it will only develop to the point of Shantaras. But in this verse, beginning vikrīḍitaṁ, we find that first Prem Bhakti enters the heart, and then lust and other anarthas will automatically disappear. Those who follow the process that is described in the verse beginning Brahma Bhuta Prasanatma will have to labor so much to become free from lust and all other anarthas. And they may not succeed. Among hundreds of thousands of Brahmagyanis, perhaps one will succeed. There is no guarantee. But through the process described in this verse, beginning vikrīḍitaṁ, anyone with śraddha is qualified, and they do not have to make any laborious endeavor. They must simply hear nuśṛṇuyād, and the topmost prem bhakti, gopi prem, will enter their heart. What to speak of shantaras? This gives us great hope. Anyone with śraddha is qualified. The words idaṁ cha indicates that we will not only enter Rāsa-līlā, but also so many other varieties of vilas like it. That we'll be so fortunate is our greatest hope. The word idaṁ in this specifically indicates Rāsa-līlā, the apex of all lila, while cha also indicates all other lilas like it, such as Holy Lila, wherein Śrī Kṛṣṇa and the gopis battle each other with the water that has been dyed all different colors. Dol-lila are swing pastimes. Jala-lila are pastimes of playing in the water. Gamana-lila, wherein the gopis wander about with Śrī Kṛṣṇa while holding his hands, and all others. He will enter Man-lila, the pastimes of Śrī Kṛṣṇa trying to counteract the angry jealousy of the gopis. He will enter Dana-lila, wherein Śrī Kṛṣṇa harasses the gopis for taxes before he allows them to pass by him. He will enter Kunja-lila, wherein Śrī Kṛṣṇa and the gopis play together in beautifully decorated forest gardens. He will enter every lila. What great fortune he shall attain! Why has the name Vishnu, the all-pervasive one, been used in idaṁ cha Vishnu? During Rāsa-līlā, Śrī Kṛṣṇa has manifested himself beside hundreds of thousands of gopis, expanding one form for each of them. Vishnu, in this context, refers to that Krishna, that Vishnu, not the Vishnu who resides within each atom of the material creation. Continuing his explanation, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives an elucidation of the term śraddhānvito, or imbued anvita with complete faith, śraddha. Śraddha shabde vishwas kohe sudrida nishchoy, Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. That's Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 22:62. The word Śraddha means immovable trust, that by engaging in Krishna bhakti, one will undoubtedly fulfill all of one's duties on every level. In this context, Śraddha refers to the conviction that if one continuously hears Rāsa-līlā, continuously explains it, and continuously remembers it and appreciates it, then he will attain gopi prem and eventually attain the position of a gopi. The words Śraddha Nishchoy indicates the immovable determination that surely it will come to pass. If one is imbued with this kind of conviction, then he is Śraddha Anvita. In relation to a man who possesses such Śraddha, the word nu has been used, which means certainly. In other words, those who possess this kind of Śraddha will certainly attain gopi prem and enter into Rāsa-līlā with Śrī Kṛṣṇa and the gopis. Of this, there is no doubt. Also, it is explained that if someone has faith in his Gurudev and faith in Shastra, then his conviction shall be called Śraddha. This is the verdict of Shastra, of Śrīmad Bhagavatam, of Srila Shukadeva Gosvāmī. If someone is deeply convinced that surely it will come to pass and hears Rāsa-līlā Katha with such conviction, then he is qualified to hear it and will certainly attain Prem Bhakti. He will attain a form of Prem in accordance with what the gopis experience in relation to Sri Krishna. First, he will attain Krishna Prem, bhaktiṁ parāṁ bhagavati pratilabhya, and then the disease of the heart, which includes all forms of mundane attraction, especially lust for the opposite sex, will go far away. Lastly, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says dhīraḥ. One who is dhīraḥ is also described as a pandit, a deeply realized person, or as a munivar, the best of saints. Who is being referred to as dhīraḥ in this verse? Those who proclaim. In Shastra, it has been written that we should hear Harikatha, and specifically the apex of all Harikatha. By such hearing, the disease of lust will go far away. One who believes in this fact is firmly. One who believes in this fact very firmly is called a dhīraḥ, a deeply realized saintly personality. On the other hand, those who hear the shloka and other shlokas in this line, but do not believe in them, are not qualified, and the disease of lust will not leave their hearts. They proclaim, first give up lust, and only then can you hear all these topics. First become qualified, and then hear about Rāsa-līlā. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has referred to such people as Nastik, as atheists, and Nam Aparadhis, offenders of the holy name. He explains, such people are not dhīraḥ, rather they are Nam Aparadhis. But those who very thoughtfully consider Srila Shukadeva Goswami's words and hear Rāsa-līlā Katha with the conviction that surely it will come to pass, those people are truly dhīraḥ. Those who do not believe in the precepts of Shastra, thinking instead, we should first become qualified by giving up lust and all other forms of mundane attraction, and only after that should we hear Rāsa-līlā Katha. Those who think that are in fact Nam Aparadhis. They do not believe in the words of Srila Shukadeva Goswami, the words of Shastra, and are therefore Nam Aparadhis. Those who do not depend on the words of Srila Shukadeva Goswami with full confidence are actually atheistic. Those who have no faith in the precepts of Shastra cannot attain Prem because they are Nam Aparadhi. But if someone has even a trace of Shraddha, if he hears Rāsa-līlā Katha, he will attain full-blown Shraddha and thus become truly qualified to hear. Even for him, Prem will first enter his heart, and then lust will go completely and permanently. Srila Jiva Goswami concludes his commentary on this verse saying, Hey Prabhu, hey Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it is you who gave this idea to the world. It is you making me dance inside and outside, inspiring me to explain all of this and to realize those explanations. You are making a person like me, a mundane fool like me, dance internally and externally. Because of the impetus of love for that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I am writing all of these things. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has concluded his own commentary in a similar manner. Yeah, I already read this point, but I thought that was such an interesting point that he says, śraddhānvito means if one listens without faith, it is an offense. So to remove this, one must hear continuously, not only hearing, but also describing, remembering, and recommending. That's how we get faith, is by doing it continuously. All right. So there's also another really nice explanation on this verse and going beyond Vaikuntha. But now we're nearly we've been reading for nearly an hour now, so I'll end here. Maybe I'll read that chapter if I get around to it. I'll read it online here. But yeah, this is a very important topic, very deep topic. And I think the point is that we're not supposed to, if we have any mundane lust, that's not the disqualification for hearing Rāsa-līlā, but we have to have faith in what we're listening to. If we don't have faith in what we're listening, like if we think of it as mundane, if we think of Krishna, Radha and Krishna as just some mundane hero and heroine, then that means that we don't have any faith, that we're not, and then that's an offense to listen if we hear like that. And it's also very important to hear from those who have faith. So we shouldn't just listen to it. We have to be careful to listen to somebody who actually has faith in these lilas, and then their faith will come on to us. We should only hear it from bona fide sources. And then, all right, because that's something with Hari Katha. There's lots of times devotees, lots of times people want to hear Hari Katha because it's entertaining. It's like a movie. It's like, yeah, I want to hear it. They want to enjoy it. But the whole purpose of Rāsa-līlā, the gopis, they didn't want to enjoy with Krishna. Everything was completely full of 100% pure desire to serve, full surrender of the entire body, everything. And so in the same way, when we hear, we shouldn't be listening with a desire to enjoy this katha. It's so juicy, yeah. But we should be listening in a mood of service, with surrender, with shraddha. Shraddha and surrender are the same, like they're synonymous. Those two words, shraddha and sharanagati, they're synonymous. And so we have to listen in a mood of submission, and continuously. Otherwise, if we don't have faith in that, then we're nam-aparadis, as my Gurudev mentioned over and over. All right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Oh, and Gopikant Prabhu, I'm just looking at your comment here. He said, yeah. Well, that greed comes from hearing, right? So, yeah, I guess it could both happen. Both things happen. That by hearing from the mouths of Mahabhagavats, then we get some lobha, we get some greed, and that greed is what is the qualification? Yeah. All right. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga. And that's how we get Shraddha also. Yeah, Raghunuga Shraddha. All right. Jai Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shishi Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki Jai Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtata Rashata Shishimar Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj Shri Gurudev ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtata Rashata Shishimar Shri Bhakti Vedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtata Rashata Shishimar Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Ashtata Rashata Shishimar Shri Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Vishnupad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki Jai Nityalila Pravishtam Mahabhagavat Shri Gokshara Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Shri Satchid Ananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki Jai Nityalila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Shri Raghunātha Babaji Maharaj ki Jai Shri Rupa Anuga Gauriya Guru Varga ki Jai Shri Rupa Sanatan Bhatta Raghunāth Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Das Raghunāth Sharda Goswami Prabhu ki Jai Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Shri Kshetra Mandala Gaura Mandala Vraja Mandala Mathura Vrindavan Dham ki jai, Sarva Abhishta Pradata Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Shri Radha Kunda Shama Kunda ki jai, Shri Yamuna Devi Ganga Devi ki jai, Shri Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi ki jai, Shri Bhakti Devi ki jai, Shri Purnamasi Yogamaya ki jai, Shri Gopeshwar Mahadev ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Shri Rāsa-pañcadhyāyī ki jai, Sarva Vraja Devi Gan ki jai, Shri Vajendra Nandan Sham Sundar, Shri Krishna Chandra ki jai, Shri Raseshwari, Shri Vrishabhanu Nandini, Shrimati Radha Thakurani ki jai, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Vrinda Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dhanyavad pranam to everybody. Oh, and Indira Mataji, yes. Well, actually, I don't know. There's a chance I might go to Varshana tomorrow morning. But if it's not totally confirmed. So if I don't go to Varshana tomorrow morning, then I will continue with chapter 34. I'm reading Sarartha Darshini of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. But if I do go to Varshana tomorrow, then I'll read the day after tomorrow. I'll start. But yeah, we'll continue with our regular Srimad Bhagavatam readings. All right. Hari Bol, everybody. Dhanyavad pranams. If anybody has any other points on this topic also, please share. All right. Hari Bol, everybody. See you all either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow.